everybody, welcome to the Wildrose Way Podcast. I'm Tom Smith from Wildrose, Mississippi. I'm your host, and we have a special guest. This one's a little different. We're going to talk dogs, but we have Mark Shoemake from Shoemake Legacy Clothiers, who makes fine bespoke garments for men and women here in Oxford, Mississippi. I've known you, Mark, for what, 10 years,
12,
something like that. And you can see some of his work here that he did for me. It is fantastic. So let's get into it and see what we can talk about.
All right, let's go.
All right, Mark, where'd you grow up?
Collins, Mississippi. A lot of people hadn't heard of that town, but it's just north of Hattiesburg and just below McGee and Jackson. So about 3,500 people. And I married a girl over there from Texas that's from a town of about 2 million, so kind of crashing of worlds.
Well, you kind of upgraded though.
I did.
I mean, me and you aren't like the buff George Clooney's.
Yeah, I get reminded about that probably at least 24 times a day. Even when I'm not in front of as many people as I used to be, people seek me out to say, she's too good for you.
Well, I agree.
So, and I take that. Yeah, exactly. No, I can appreciate that.
So growing up, hunting, fishing, all the above?
Yes. My dad would take me to, we have a farm down there. Probably, it's not a large farm. It's not a small farm, about 200 acres. And we would go hunting and fishing. And we didn't do much of the big game hunting. So we didn't do very much deer hunting. But probably my favorite memory of hunting wise is, of course, we do it elsewhere during the year. But every Thanksgiving morning, that was a tradition of ours.
Rabbit hunt? No,
squirrel. So we have, we're probably 80% pasture, but then we have some beautiful groves of trees. And there's just one little hollow that goes, that's down behind an old family, not our family, cemetery from the 1800s that is just full of squirrels and
wow,
just wildlife and everything in general.
See, when I grew up, Thanksgiving Day was rabbit hunt.
I got you.
In southern Indiana.
Yeah.
So with the beagles and everything. Did you hunt with the dogs, with the squirrels?
No, we didn't. We just walked and stalked. I had my little 22 short and pump that was, gosh, I'm gonna say it wrong because sometimes it was a 1890. Something was the one that my dad wanted to use. It was a pump Remington or something. But did that with that. And then as I got a little older, he was wanting to get me used to shotguns. And so, of course, like a lot of young guys, we started with a 410, and also started that with dove hunting. And I was scared of the 12 gauge at that time, but then, eventually grew into that. It finally started growing a little size and not scared of the big boomers.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. I got my first 20 gauge when I was 10.
Yeah.
Old Remington Wingmaster 870. Still got it. So it's 47 years old.
Oh my gosh.
So that's what after the 410, that's what I graduated to. And then went to the 12. But I've migrated back that about all I shoot these days is 20.
Is the 20 gauge.
Ballistics are so good. It's lighter. The shells are lighter if you're humping in North Dakota. So I use 20 on ducks, geese, pheasants.
Tom, I forgot that I even used the 20 gauge in between the 410 and the 12 gauge. My dad pretty much gave me his double barrel 20 gauge, and I believe it was a Browning. And that was my favorite, that was my favorite shotgun that's how I did most of my dove hunting was the 20 gauge. Might need to go back to it then.
Yeah. The other thing I started doing a little bit every now and then for the dove hunts, I'll break out a 16.
Oh yeah.
Just for something fun.
Now my father-in-law has a couple 16 gauges. I don't have one yet, but maybe if I butter him up enough, maybe I can talk him out of that one, one day.
I've got a side-by-side Steven 16. My mom's husband Brent gave me, but 20 years ago, maybe close to 20 years ago, I walked in a pawn shop in Georgetown, Kentucky, and they had a 28 and a 16 in Remington 1100s. I
28
said,
and a 16.
I'll take two.
You'll take both of them.
Both.
Yeah, those are not common. And they're sitting beside each other. Yeah, I think anybody with an eye for it, like you,
I snatched those up. So that was kind of a fun purchase. Grew up with dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Hunt dogs?
Oh, did I?
Yeah, did you?
No, I grew up, so I always wanted a dog. And we lived in town, so kind of grew up in town and on a farm. But when you're talking about a town of 3,000, it's just really, But we didn't have a fenced-in yard. And so my mother was always very cautious and didn't want us to have a dog that just ran loose, or if we had a family pet, and it just be able to run away. Now, why they were okay with us having cats, I don't know. But I don't have a problem with cats. I know a lot of people hate cats, but I love dogs so much. And but on the farm, my grandfather got, I believe, an Australian Shepherd. And we called him Shep. It was really original, is what he named him. Probably when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and we loved Shep. And then we had another one, and they would use him to help work cattle. And then another dog just showed up, and they named him Steve. I guess after my cousin Steven, which I still laugh. I still laugh.
Pretty funny.
It's like, here's my dog, Kevin, or whatever. So it's one of those funny names for a dog. But anyway, luckily, I don't know if it was good or bad for us, but whenever they passed, they came home and my dad would come home and be like, well, we can't find Steve, or we can't find Shep, which pretty much I think it means the worst, because there's a pretty busy road right there going by the farm. And so I just, they saved that for me when I was an adult.
Yeah. We've got a client, Justin Carpenter. He's a VP at Drake.
Yeah.
His first dog you got here was named Gary. The second one was Todd.
Did they have his last name?
It was just so stinking funny, the way he did his dogs' names. So you grew up loving dogs. You don't really hunt much now, right?
I don't at the moment. I will be doing a lot of it. So I will be doing a lot more hunting nowadays. I'm going to have a lot more flexibility coming this fall, so I can't wait.
Sure,
I'll have some flexibility to where I can do that. Get up and go early on a Saturday morning, and or Sunday, or that kind of thing. I'm really looking forward to that. It's kind of funny, right now we don't have children, but I've told my buddy that is a huge hunter. I told Blake this before. I've told my buddy John this before. I said, hey, you know what, guys? If we ever have a daughter, I don't need any help, because I've been raising girls for the last 20-something years, basically.
Yeah.
And but if we have a son, I've basically forgotten how to get my hands really dirty, having that kind of fun. So I'm going to need a little trainer. You're going to be helping, Junior out with me.
That's what we're here for.
That's right. And one of my most recent hunts was, I say most recent, it's actually 3 years ago. Got to do something fun. Have you ever been helicopter hog hunting?
No, it's on my bucket list.
Oh my gosh.
It is on my bucket list.
So I have a wonderful, wonderful father-in-law. And he surprised us basically to have us come out to his lease in Paducah, Texas. They have a lease out there with him and a few business partners. And once a year, to entertain a lot of their clients, they have a guy that comes in from, I think, Montana. That's where his full-time is, to fly a helicopter, take up right there, hog hunt. And so you can shoot anything except the deer and except I can't remember, it was something else. But you shoot the heck out of the hogs,
And the coyotes.
because they have the coyotes. So they have such a huge, it's an infestation of hogs out there that just ruin your land or whatever. So I think even the state of Texas, well, I mean, this, they're just like, get out there and kill them. We don't care what happens to the remains. And gosh, that was fun. That was so much fun. But it was like a cheat code for hunting. You're up there in the air and you're banking left and you're banking right. And I got this. Luckily, my bride was raised in the outdoors with my father-in-law, and she spotted me. So she was in the back seat. It was like one of these tiny little helicopters, maybe in a big,
like a little light observation helicopter.
That's right. And being a taller, bigger dude, I could see the pilot look at me like kind of with a little bit of fear in his eyes, like, okay, this is going to be a little, I have to figure out the balance for this. But Cassie sat in the back and probably a little more to the right to the center of that. Give us better center of gravity. But she fed me shotgun shells. And
oh, you were doing a shotgun, not a rifle?
Yeah, we did it with shotguns. They told us we were going to come out there and do it with ARs and 300s and all this other stuff. But we got out there and they said, look, we're just going to do a buckshot, 12 gauge. And so, and you want to talk about so many shots fired, I didn't realize how much.
Next day you're like,
yeah. And I'll tell you, like you're thinking, you're wearing headphones, you feel like your ears are just going to be ringing all day from it. But when you fire, it sounds like a pellet gun because the
rubber blast.
Yes. Push down on that sound and push it out under or behind the helicopter. So it's like, so you don't really notice how badly your shoulder is getting its tail kicked, and but it was such an adrenaline.
Yeah.
And it's funny, he had all his buddies out there and all his clients out there. And when we came into land, he was standing out there by the lodge and just watching us come in, and he's just, it's kind of like all eyes were on us, on me, the guy that sells clothes, and he's like, well, how many did you get? And I think I got 7 of them, and then 3 or 4 coyotes, and I was toward the end of the day, and everybody else was just like, are you serious? That's BS. I was like, is that a lot or is that a little? They're like, well, you got the most anybody today, and to this day, my father-in-law has never had more pride for me than he did that day that his son-in-law didn't have to get off the helicopter and say, oh, well, I got one or none. And then all his friends, pick on him later whenever I'm out of sight, or maybe to my face. I don't know. Those are kind of the guys that are around there.
Yeah. Well, but
it's fun. So do it.
Yeah, I have to do that.
So you and Cassie are big into rescue dogs, which is awesome. I want every dog to have a good time or have a great life. I'm sorry. And you got a new one recently.
We got a new one. Yes. And it's perfect timing. It's the perfect dog for us. We had a lab that Cassidy brought into the marriage, Juno. She was 16 years and 3 months when she had a great long life, adventures every day. And so really I've had to kind of tip my hat to her or just I guess say whenever you're ready, dog, because I know it takes a while to grieve, and we were all very close. And I tell you what, you went from 3 dogs to 0 dogs in about a 3-year time frame. That house is definitely deafening quiet. It's just not fun. And so I wait about a month, and I start seeing rescues or Goldens or labs that I like or whatever, texting to her. I don't get a response to any of them. I'm just like, I'm not pushing you, but here's one that is available whenever you get ready. And so our new dog is less than a year old. His name is Tuxedo, quote unquote, Tux Shoemake, because we're in the clothing business, obviously. He's black and white and spotted. We think he's half pitty or staffy, whatever the friendliest term is, and then half blue heeler. And so he is a hardened animal. And but he is, oh my gosh, we hit the jackpot. Some folks that we knew were walking with, were out on Highway 6, and they saw him trotting down the road. Somebody threw him out, evidently. And but he had been crate trained. He knows how to sit. He knows 2 or 3 other things, and he's obedient for the most part. We're working on that. But he's still got some puppy in him.
Yeah.
Yes, because he likes to be a little mouthy and chew on things. And he just very recently chewed up my new computer cord, charging cord cable. But I can't get mad at him because he's dadgum cute, and he's like,
he's super sweet.
He's so sweet. He loves everybody. Like he'll submit to you. He'll just submit to a stranger, to a child, to another dog, and he just wants to be friends. He just wants, hey, just acknowledge me, and I'll go get back in my bed, which makes him a superb shop dog.
Yeah, because I got to meet him there a couple weeks ago.
Yes, sir.
And he was just super sweet.
Yes, sir. Maybe him and Juice can be friends one day. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We want to get him a sister or something down, within a few months. But we're not gonna rush it.
Yeah, yeah. All in good time, right?
That's right.
See, I felt I was lucky when Dixie passed. I had Big Red.
Yeah.
And Mattis.
Right.
So
I remember you telling me one time.
That was, especially in I just couldn't take it being an empty house. Yeah. Our vet, who's incredible, Lee Payne, told us, that because my golden went first, but she was 14. Yep. And then we thought it would be Juno because she was the middle age, and then Stella was our other rescue pup that got us into rescues, and there's stories behind that. But we thought that she would be the last to go. Well, Stella passed in between because of cancer, about 9 or 10 years old, and we grieved like crazy over that. Didn't know we were going to love her that much. And but Lee was like, yeah, just instead of getting because I asked him, I said, should we get another dog so Juno's not lonely and all this other stuff? He said, well, she's at the time, I guess she was 14 or 14 and a half. He's like, with her kind of on the way out, maybe not a great idea to get a pup so young. Mm-hmm. But we're following that advice. So after Timber passed away, our golden, I came home and I told Cassie, I said, I don't want to ever be without at least one dog in the house ever. She said, well, we'll have to see about that. Well, she was right. We needed to give Juno that last little bit of time to have to herself and shower her with all the love and all the adventures and everything, because she had stepped aside to let the other ones do that. And so we did that, and it was really hard, but now we've got Tux. He's filled a void, and I think you can adopt and shop. You know what I mean? So I think, obviously, you incredible pups out here, and maybe one day we'll get us one if we can get a spot out in the country. But for now, we're going to stick with our little rescues. Yeah, like I said, I want all dogs to have a good home.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So I've got Mabel the kitten.
Yeah.
Who showed up here in October.
Yeah.
And so a couple funny stories with her. She was chasing Juice one day. Now this little 5-pound kitten was chasing Juice.
Chasing big Juice over there.
Juice gets to the pool.
About 65 pounds, right?
68.
68. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Juice gets to the edge of the pool, and Jukes and Mabel the kitten straight into the pool.
Oh no.
If I could have had that on film. So I'm like, oh, she swims pretty good. So Sunday, I got in the pool, and Mabel comes over to me. So I just pick her up and walk out in the middle of the pool.
Mm-hmm.
She's not scratching anything. I've taken her in the shower, and I just put her down in the water. That cat swims so fast.
So you got a swimming cat?
Yes.
That is weird. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think that is so neat.
It is hilarious. I've taken her in the shower, doesn't bother her. Mm-hmm. So Big Red's 14. She curls up and sleeps with Red all the time. It is that's cute.
A great relationship.
Or she'll be over there making biscuits on him,
and he's just loving it.
He's just laying there. He's so chill.
Just chilling.
But yeah, that was pretty fun. So how long have you and Cassidy been married?
I got to get this right because she's sitting right there. So it's 11 years plus. So we had our 11-year anniversary on May the 17th.
Hey,
there we go.
She nodded her head off camera.
And
y'all,
just for that's right. She nodded her head. Nope, she wasn't giving me signals, because it would have been a not nice finger if she did. Yeah.
Awesome. I didn't realize y'all had been married that long.
I know, man. It's it goes by pretty quick.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna. As far as being single, I thought I made it home free after dating a handful of girls through my 20s. I was like, okay, well, I'm supposed to be one of these guys, and then lo and behold, God had a different plan, as He does for all of us. And He just said, nope, sucker, here's one. And you're not going to be able to do without this one, and I haven't been able to.
So. Yeah, I never had kids. Now I got 2 stepdaughters.
Now you have 2 stepdaughters. Okay, I did not know that about you. I don't think I didn't know that.
Tina
okay. So yeah, that's awesome though, man. I bet you're a great girl dad, stepdad.
They say I do okay.
All right.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're great girls. They're super successful, doing great things in the world. So awesome. It's definitely been different for me, and I'm pretty sure, this is going to come out long enough that we're getting ready to be grandparents.
Ooh, congratulations, man! Can we, if you pick that up, that was a high five over here on the mic. But that's awesome, man! Congratulations.
So, Tina's excited.
Does she have her grandmother name and you have your grandfather name?
Yeah. Her
maybe you don't want to share that.
Is Lola.
Okay.
And my grandpa name is Grumpy.
Grumpy is going to be the best. That is fantastic.
So
that's fantastic. So that'd be fitting of my dad if he becomes a grandparent.
That's
sorry,
those things.
Sorry, Daddy, I didn't mean it.
So they picked that out for me.
Yeah.
So got a little background. Now let's talk clothes.
Okay. Got it.
What got you in to clothes? Have you always been in clothes, fashion, all that stuff, or because you're like the sharpest dresser I know?
Oh gosh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's kind of a meandering story, and it won't be long, like I usually say. But so my best friend was like my brother, Bobby. He would come to school, and his mom would take him shopping. I'm talking about like elementary school, beginning of junior high kind of stuff. And would always just dress him in the snazziest stuff. Now I'm about to age myself because it was like back in the 80s, Miami Vice was real, popular. So here comes Bobby to school, first day of 4th grade, and he looks like, Danny or Crockett, or whatever, Sonny Crockett. And anyway, so he was a sharp dresser, and we were all just like, dadgummit, Bobby, why you got to always have the good stuff? And so I didn't really think about it much anymore after that. But when I got to be in, I guess, the 6th or the 7th grade, I don't know, something clicked. My mom would help me get dressed or pick out what I was going to wear to school that day. And, and I started thinking like, well, I don't like what she picked out, or she did a phenomenal job, but I look like all the other kids. And I don't know why, I just liked I just like clothes. And so one day when we're going to the summer sales, going to, there was a place called McRae's in Hattiesburg. There was a place called Waldorf's in Hattiesburg. We'd go down there to get my older sister and me outfitted for the coming school year. And I went because my sister Ashley, awesome sister, she and Mama would go do all the girl shopping and kind of just leave me over there, just kind of, hey, walk around here and don't get anybody's way. Go sit in that three-way mirror and don't bug anybody and don't touch anything.
Don't break anything.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But at this point, I'm like 12, and so I'm just like, and tall. I look like almost a man, and so it's kind of weird. So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna start thumbing through this stuff, and I found a couple shirts that I liked, and so, Mama, can I have these instead of whatever? So yeah, we can do that. That's fine. And so go to school, and I'm wearing my new stuff, and it's a little bit different than what you see in Collins, Mississippi. And I'm not talking about flamboyant, and I'm not talking about just super colorful out there or anything. It was just like somebody that paid attention and gotten dressed intentionally. Mm-hmm. And it was something that I liked, and I felt good in my own skin with it. Just like it gave me like, oh, okay, well, I'm wearing what I like to wear as part of, I guess, it's a rite of passage of becoming a man or whatever. Mm-hmm. But to make a short answer long, it was because of the girls. The girls started
our downfall.
Yes. So the women, the girls would compliment me like, oh, Mark, I like that shirt. And, or I like that, that pair of jeans or whatever. And I'm just a stocky football player, at the time or whatever. But they would say, they would notice, and they weren't noticing the other guy, how they dressed. So they were thinking one of two things about me. And so I was just like, and thankfully they're like, oh, he just likes clothes. You know what I mean? So, and so ever since then, that was the springboard. Was I just wanted to make sure that I looked sharp, whether it was casual or whether it was getting dressed up a little bit or more formal. And I always like to throw some color in there, like you, to really just a subtle touch, a hint of color to draw the eye, to say, when somebody's looking, they're like, you know what, Tom or Mark or Dwayne, that guy has attention to detail. I can see he's doing this with his clothes, and it's a part of just taking pride in how you present yourself. And so that's how I came about really getting into clothing.
So you graduate high school.
Mm-hmm.
What happened then?
What happened then is I basically, all right. So everybody, I took a year off. I tell people I took a year off, but actually I went to JCJC, Jones County Junior College. I think it's just Jones College now. Mm-hmm. And I didn't do so well there. I just was not ready for school. I was just not, prepared to study the way that everybody else did. And I guess I just didn't care. And so I started over the next year at Ole Miss. And you're not really supposed to do that without, the state knowing, but we slipped that one by. So I got to be a freshman again. And I had kind enough and understanding enough parents that said, okay, well, if you're going to get another shot at a freshman year, you got to do it this time because, this is it. This is it. Even then, I thought I wanted to be a doctor. So I'd done all these allied health classes with some wonderful, wonderful people in high school and made really good grades. And then I got up here and I sat through that first pre-med semester, and I was like, okay, these people are leaps and bounds ahead of me. I could just not, best I could muster up was a C,
Yeah.
And figuring out, okay, well, maybe it's time for another career path. And I did not know what that was going to be. So I spent 2 years or 3 years kind of wandering, and I was good. I was decent in English and literature in high school. And so I just I did that kind of a thing where you just kind of go into the liberal arts until you can figure out what you want to do. And then I took a year. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I took a year off and I moved to Colorado, just above Steamboat Springs, and worked on a dune ranch. And that was at my dad's suggestion. Judge, if you're listening, it was the second best thing I ever did in my life. But I got out there. He'd said, well, man, since you can't get figured out what you want to do, you don't need to keep going to school and just spinning your wheels. I've seen something about this where people your age go out west and work on dune ranches and meet people. And there was so much growth that summer. There was so much growth. I read more books that summer and for the following couple of years than any amount of material that they could have thrown at me at Ole Miss. I absorbed it. So I always thought that maybe I was just too late going to, too early going to school. I think if I would have started at 22, right, I would have probably been a doctor. Who knows? But Steamboat Spring, Clark, Colorado was about 15 minutes above Steamboat, and it's a dune ranch. And I met lots of some powerhouses in the business world and U.S. robotics and a lot of NFL players and all this kind of stuff. I picked right. I applied to 16 different ranches that I narrowed down that I liked. I had my 8 favorites. I had my 3 top tier, and I said, if any of these 3 do it, and my number one called me. And it's the number 1 ranch out there.
Karma.
Yeah, man. It was so cool. So cool. Made so many friends that I still keep in touch with today out there. Of course, we're all grown ups now and, mortgages and having fun and
adulting.
Yeah, adulting. Adulting is overrated.
Way overrated.
It's way overrated. That's right.
Well, it's funny. I was pre-med.
Oh, really?
Until chemistry.
Okay.
I could not wrap my head around chemistry.
Man.
And, all the other grades are pretty good. And honestly, I didn't want to go to college.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I got a 4-year full ride through ROTC.
So why not?
So I went and changed it to history, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, if I ever get out of the Army, I'll teach history and coach football.
Yep. Me, I'm looking at her because I love history. And yeah, so we have a lot of.
Sorry, y'all. That was an alarm to remind me to call and get reservations for my wife's birthday dinner. But yeah, so I wasn't really when I got out of the Army, one of the first questions in my first interview was, your GPA isn't that great. And I was just like, honestly, I didn't want to be there. Mm-hmm. I was there to get a commission to go be an infantry officer. That's all I cared about. Yeah. So it all worked out.
Yeah. So you apply yourself in the things that you have passion about.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I was off. I was awful at chemistry for a while, but Judy, if it wasn't for a lady named Judy Arrington, who's no longer with us, who was very missed in our hometown, I would not have gotten through just high school chemistry, but she made me understand it, and I started making hundreds. And so, and if it wouldn't have been for her, I would have failed out of all those classes. But get to Ole Miss, and there's a lot more than just chemistry class.
Just a little bit in Oxford.
That's right. That's right.
There's a reason we're known as one of the top 10 party schools in the U.S.
No kidding, man. Something to be this impressive and to be ashamed of at the same time. So, but it is what it is. All publicity is good publicity.
Yep. So when did you get your first job in the clothing industry?
My first job in the clothing industry. All right. You're going to like this because it's not the one you're thinking.
I didn't think it was.
Okay.
I figured there was a stepping stone in there somewhere.
So the year that I went to, and maybe this had part of the reason why I didn't do so well in Jones, JCJC or Jones College is in Ellisville, Mississippi, which is right next door to Laurel, Mississippi. Mm-hmm. And if anybody knows Laurel, Mississippi, and they watch Hometown and whatever, with they've probably seen or heard of Sawmill Square Mall. And so I had two jobs that when I would finish class, I would drive over from Ellisville to Laurel, and I would work a shift like a 4-hour shift at the sound shop. And for all the young folks, that's where you used to buy music. Yeah. Okay. So you bought CDs, you bought records and cassettes and all that. That's right. So I worked at the sound shop for a year, but I would have a 30-minute break in between that and the shift at my next job, which was suiting up in the stripes and pride of Foot Locker. So I was one of those guys that would, and so that actually came in handy because for the next few Halloweens, I was just a Foot Locker guy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I had the ref's shirt on and the black polyester pants and did I have a whistle? I can't remember if I had a whistle, but I had all that stuff. And yeah, but every time I tell people that, so they laugh at it, but it is kind of it. But hey, there's honor in it, I was trying to grow up, trying 100%. To be responsible and pay my own bills, and I have fond memories of working at Foot Locker and the sound shop. Some good folks, and but that was more athletic wear, obviously, but and then I came here and decided my first clothing love is actual sportswear and things that are more dressed up clothing wise.
That transition to the more bespoke clothing,
yes,
where you went to, you mentioned it earlier. Mm-hmm. The first time I wore that coat, I'm like,
oh yeah. There's something that just feels better.
Yeah, because that's the first one. Now I bought some other. They were off the shelf, but they were still very nice jackets. Yes. This is the first one that was totally start to finish.
Absolutely.
We had fun picking the buttons, the liner, so much fun doing that.
Yeah.
And and then I wear it for the first time and people are going, wow, that's a nice coat. Mm-hmm. So where'd you get that? It's JCPenney.
Hey, is that you trying to keep me a secret? I'll take that as a compliment.
But no, I was telling people where I got it and stuff. But like you said, when you start getting the compliments,
right.
And then the other problem is what gets you. Once you start getting those clothes made, it's like you just want more of them.
It's kind of like your artwork that you have. That's what I hear, and that's why I'm afraid to get my first.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've only got two.
The two. There you go.
But so you're doing custom made, bespoke clothing lines, and now let's talk shoes. Shoes.
That's right. So in addition to having some clothing manufacturers and some custom and bespoke manufacturers, we have this custom shoe line We got another one on the way this fall. But these are really cool, and I'm not wearing mine today. But you can design them. I have a website that you can go to, or that I can send you, to have all kinds of fun with it. When we decided that we were going to bring this line in, it's all USA made. We decided we had made a trip out to Texas about three or 4 years ago. Saw and found out who the manufacturer was, and then when we made a revisit, sorry, I went back on you. When we made a revisit last December, I followed back up with my friends at the shop, and they said, we like these. And people like these and respond. You're like, pick them, call this guy and you'll see. So talked with my wife about it, and we made the decision to bring them in, and it's been great so far. They're a hit. And so but the fun in it is designing the shoe.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. There's, with all the skin and color combinations, there's thousands upon thousands of different combinations you can come up with. And what I did was I brought in men's try-ons, and a try-on is just stuff this for display in different sizes for somebody to say, I'm interested in a pair of shoes. What size are you? Well, I'm a 12, like this behemoth right here. And they try that on just to see how it's going to feel. And so being a guy, I had no trouble designing all the try-ons for men, like, from size 8 to size 13. But so I made them all look very different. But I had to kind of pull a trick out of my sleeve, and for the ladies' try-ons. And so I called my sister, I got my wife, and I said, I don't want anybody to talk to anybody. I want you all to design a shoe and send it back to me. So my wife, one of her best friends, two of her best friends actually, very good, one of my old best girlfriends, and my sister all sent me their designs. And they sent, oh God, there were some of them that sent me 3 designs. Okay. There were some that sent me like 26 or 27 designs. Okay. So, but I wanted something that represented, different perspectives. And so that was really good to do that. And, but they've been a hit so far. It takes, I'm happy to send anybody this website and the sign-in info, and they can play with it till the cows come home. While you're laying in bed, get ready to go to sleep. You can design 1 pair or 15 pairs of shoes, and then think about which one you really want. But I have 2 pairs of shoes. My wife has 2 pairs of shoes, and one in common is we call it our game day shoe. And so I have my version of what I'd like a red and blue for the Rebels. And she does the same thing with hers, but it's a completely different skin. I think it's ostrich. Okay. She's got ostrich. I've got lizard. But you can make them out of alligator, crocodile, python, shark. And there's a few I'm forgetting right now. Ostrich leg. But.
Well, yeah, it was super fun because we were talking game day shoes.
Yes.
I have a pair of these. They're not up here because I didn't want them to be released because they're not seeing the light of day until the first game for the Walk of Champions. So we want to keep that one a little secret. But yeah, I brought Gracie in there and she did all the design, youngest. So that was really fun doing that. So you spent how many years at your previous employer?
I was there for 25 years and 3 months, where I got a wonderful, wonderful education and learned so much stuff. But I figured out what my passion was, and it was the custom clothing business part. And so I started focusing on that and really tried to build that up. And I built it up pretty thoroughly, where it was the right time for me to go out and do something on my own. Mm-hmm. And part of the bespoke and custom process is it takes a lot of focus, and it takes not just talking to you and figuring out what you like. That's the most important part. But on the backside of that, I got to make sure that I'm devoting as much time to, on the back end where you're not in there, to make sure that I get every detail right. Mm-hmm. And I take pride in that, and I guarantee my clothes. So I'm able now to give you full focus instead of trying to give you focus, and then going over here to sell a pair of a bag or a this or a that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that I just needed to kind of make my world a little smaller, and that's what I did.
And how long have you been on your own? A little over a year, right?
Gosh, no, it's only been 8 months, 9 months.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah,
and you're not even busy at all.
Oh God, not busy. I'm starving. No, I have been really blessed with all the relationships that I cultivated over the years, and my wife's doing a phenomenal job with our social media, so I'm gaining new customers as well. And one thing that I was just so humbled about was that people found me. I didn't have a chance to write my letters before I got too busy to write letters.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to send letters to customers, and clients and friends, to let them know what I'm doing, and to, keep shopping all over Oxford, but to know where I am in that mix and what I can offer, and I can actually offer it in much more potent, in a positive way, service to do. And I don't know if you can tell by my tone of my voice, you probably can, that I'm very passionate about it, and I'm passionate about learning, and it's fun. It's fun to go to these markets and go to these seminars, and me thinking that I'm I kind of walk in a little cocky, full chested.
25 years.
Yeah, I know everything about it, and that kind of thing, and then I learned something new that just like I have never heard of that, and then so I've started incorporating all of that education. Past now, I'm going again in July. And I'm just going to plan to grow until I'm in the ground,
Yeah.
and just,
you learn something new with every dog you train.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Because they're all different. They're like people. There could be little triggers to make them do certain things or stuff not to do.
Yeah.
You a lot of times you want to encourage your dog. They're taking a good line. You say, good. Well, dog A may go, yeah, I'm doing good, and just roll with it. Dog B may turn around and go, why are you talking to me? And stop in the middle of the line. So then you learn, don't say a word.
Okay.
Just little tweaks like that. So it's definitely, you learn new tricks all the time with the different dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see, and I'm glad to hear it from the horse's mouth, because you're the authority as far as I'm concerned on all things dog. And it's funny what you said a minute ago about they're all different is, it's almost a cliche when you're talking to somebody that's not a dog person, and they're like, like, oh, well, our three dogs, they're like people, they're like our family, whatever. Well, they're almost human, because they all have different personalities, different quirks. My Golden didn't care how much, where you loved on her, like, scratching her tail or whatever.
As long as you're touching.
Yeah, but she's not like normal Golden. She wanted to come and get love from you when she was ready for it, and she'd wallow in it for 5-10 minutes, and then she's like, leave me alone for the rest of the day.
Kind of like a cat.
That's right. And then we had Juna, who was just more interested in ball.
Mm-hmm.
Probably shouldn't have said that in front of Juice, but and just running and just playing and all that. But she didn't like her feet to be touched. Yeah. And so it's funny. And Stella, our little pitty mix, she didn't care. She would have been in a papoose. She would have been I could have put her in a backpack, and and she would have been just happy being there 24/7.
Yeah.
And now we're realizing Tux doesn't like, that one spot that all dogs like to be scratched right there down the lower spine. He hates it. That's the only thing he hates. And I'm like, he doesn't get mad. He doesn't bite you, but he's just like, hey, would you stop? That's I don't know if he's ticklish or what the deal is, but they all have different personalities, and you can really read their minds.
Even litter mates can be real different.
Really?
Yeah. We get a lot of predictability, but every now and then you get a couple of litter mates, you're like, what?
Yeah.
So it's super fun. It's always interesting.
Well, I tell you what, me and my litter mate couldn't be very much, more different. Me and my sister. So, but we're both creative and passionate, and it's funny. But I love her to death, and she loves me. So,
well, it's been fun getting to know you over the years, from my first trip in there, meeting you, to now what have we done? The shoes, a jacket, 2 shirts, and the fun part is now sitting down. You kind of know my style a little bit. I like a little panache. Absolutely. And just picking down to the buttons, the thread color on the buttonholes, just all the little details. It's just like so much fun.
Absolutely.
And I told Mark this last week, y'all. I was like, the best thing ever happened is Mark started his Shoemake Legacy Clothiers, and the worst thing that happened to my checkbook is Mark started his business.
Oh, well.
But it's money well spent because I'll have it forever.
Well, I'm glad I'm happy to make you smile or cry, I guess. Thank you for helping us, because you've been so supportive for many years for me, and especially in our young business. We just love me. Cassie and I just love you and Tina, and everybody out here is great at Wildrose.
So where can we find you? Social media?
Okay. On X is Legacy Clothiers, and then all the others: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Shoemake Legacy Clothiers. And that's how you can find us. And it's fun. It's kind of fun. You can send us messages, and we'll send you pictures, and we'll talk to you and shoot the bull, kind of like what we're doing right now.
Yeah. So, man, this has been so much fun. It's a little different than just talking dogs the whole time. But your passion rivals our passion.
Yeah.
And that's fun to talk about.
It is. It's fun to find people that are passionate about their work, because I think I'm becoming to believe that if you find something you love to do, and you never work a day in your life.
Yep.
So it's been good. All right, brother. Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Been so much fun.
This has been a great time. Absolutely.
It's
thank
fun
you, Dwayne.
To just be relaxing, and so I want to thank our friends and partners at Dye Bomb Industries for the stools for the podcast. You rock, guys. We'll be seeing you in July at Squad Fest. Check them out. And if you can get to Squad Fest outside of St. Louis in July, it's going to be a big party, a big game fair, and we'll hope to see you there, because we're going to be there also with the dogs. Thanks for joining in. We'll see you in the field.